Who is the person you hate the most in your life? And what did they do to earn that hatred? My ex-husband's wife. He and I had 2 children together, both girls. We didn't have the best breakup, but we've learned to get along and be civil over the years. His wife has decided I am her enemy. She makes it her life's duty to make sure she looks better than me, and I suppose convinces herself that she is better than me. What makes me hate her, though, is not how she feels about me. It's how she treats my children. She is the evil stepmother. My girls dread going over to their dad's house anymore. He loves them, and I know he does, but she's there. She makes sure that they stay miserable, like her. She has no love in her heart. I can't officially or legally do anything, because she doesn't hurt them physically. She's the only person I've ever met that I truly wish I could light on fire with my mind. If she were to tragically pass in an accident, I wouldn't mourn. My bully's back in high school. But the hatred already turned into pity seeing how bad their lives had become. Same. And the main one died age 30 due to a brain aneurysm. I honestly think he overdosed. That night, my best friend and I opened a bottle of champagne and laughed our asses off. Karma. My husband's son. He grew up to be a child molester. He harmed one of his siblings. He has zero remorse for his victims. He's a master manipulator. He's a danger to any child he's allowed access to, and I do sincerely hate him. What does your husband think of him? It's complex. And it's difficult for us to have healthy communication about outside of a therapist setting still because I am consumed with nothing but anger. More complex for him than me. Overall, he of course hopes his son will get help. We disagree there. I don't think there's any help for someone like that, and a slow contact with him for that reason and to encourage him to come back and face the legal repercussions he fled from for our case. And hate also. Which he also has shame about because he's his child. But he is the man who harmed his child. There's not much support or acceptance for parents with that. It's not well responded to for a father to say he hates his son. It's easy to see me and reduce me to the evil stepmom stereotype when they hear his side of straight lies. Even in the face of the solid evidence a crime was committed by him because he has 8 warrants out for him from his charges. But my husband deals with a lot from enabling extended family who support him. Turn him in when you know where he is. Doesn't work that way. My hands are tied until he comes back to the US. If he does ever. Turning him into local authorities wouldn't do anything. Me. In college, I was crushing on this guy in my class, hard. He was friendly but I didn't think he was interested. Near the end of the semester I ran into him in the parking lot. He asked if I'd eaten lunch and suggested grabbing something together. I was shocked, then I noticed he was standing next to a Porsche. And holding the keys to a Porsche. I finally noticed how high-end his clothes looked. How expensive his haircut looked. I don't know why I never noticed it before. This guy was loaded. So, I said no. I figured I would never have anything in common with a guy like that. The crazy thing is I grew up upper middle class, so I don't know why it bothered me enough to turn down a guy I had been infatuated with for 6 months. I mentioned it to my mom and she rolled her eyes and said, "You would have done the same thing if he drove a Hyundai Sonata. It wasn't the money, you just always sabotage your own happiness." She was right. In fact, I'm still doing it. And I don't know why. My mom's current partner was my dad's best friend for a few years, then decided to tune up. Fuck, my mom. She's at fault as much as him, I guess. Ruined a family of 9 at a young age. My mother, a despicable malignant narcissist who spent her entire life mentally, emotionally and physically abusing me. She wrecked my life. Whilst I have put that chapter of my life to bed, I constantly think of the person I could have been without the upbringing I had. Same. I have flashes of who I could have been and where I could have gone, and fuck, it hurts like hell, had my dreams and confidence and self-belief not been beaten out of me emotionally, mentally and physically. Have some hug type things, if you accept such things. This guy Jeff. Long story, but the bastard screwed both of my wives, 10 years apart. ETA, originally we were best friends. My first wife cheated with him and that was it. I got divorced and cut them out of my life. Years on I was still really bitter and angry, understandably. But friends and shrinks and anger management all told me, if you want to get better, you have to forgive. So I did. But my mistake was letting him back into my life. He sold me the idea he was really sorry, and obviously nothing like that would ever happen again. We were friends again. 10 years on, I fell in love and got married again. Took me 3 years to see it, but they were really close. Turns out they were fucking the whole time. The second time I really got out of hand and went to jail. For all his skill at screwing wives, Jeff was no fighter. Damn. Did you screw his mom or something? Did you bully him in high school? Something must have happened for him to have it out for you like that. Also, both of the folded? That's crazy. Nah, after the first time everyone said I would only get better if I forgave him, so I did. I should not have let him back into my life. Friend of mine got sextorted years ago. He wasn't in the best place mentally and thought he had met someone whom he hit it off with on Reddit. He sent her some naked pictures only for someone to text him screenshots saying they would share them with friends and family if they didn't pay to have them deleted. In a panic, he paid around $3,000 only for them to up the demand for $20,000. He took his own life a few days later. I sincerely hope those people suffer in the worst way possible, physically and mentally, without any offer of salvation. I want to promote my girlfriend's father to missing person. He kicked her out of his vehicle and abandoned her on the side of the road. He was physically abusive to her and her brothers. Nearly every time he is at an event, like kids' sports, he tries to start shit, and the reason my girlfriend's mom divorced him is because he violently beat her with a tennis racket and was arrested for domestic violence. The abuser in my family. He was the cause for 3 generations of serious mental health issues. Our lives were filled with emotional neglect, physical and emotional aggression, humiliation, and much more. To this day, he still denies doing anything that he's accused of by several people, claiming that everyone's plotting against him and that he's done nothing but good. It took me a long time to cut contact with him, thanks to having to protect some people from him and also thanks to the manipulation of others, but I finally took that step and it was the best decision I've ever made so far. My mental health is healing so fast now that sometimes I don't recognize myself. I feel all these decades of fear finally leaving me in peace, and I've been able to focus on building beautiful memories instead of letting the pain and scars continue to define me. I can coldly say that now we're only waiting for him to die, so that we can take care of things and honor my grandmother the way she always deserved. I know this one. The women in the family fucking let him. Biggest betrayal I hope I ever have in this life. To this day, it's why weak women trigger me. If a woman makes excuses for her piece of shit boyfriend/husband, I can't have her around me. I know it's not fair, or any of my business, which is why I ghost, but she gets instantly sorted in my mind as one of those who would put that man ahead of the safety of her children. Nope. Stay away from me. My ex-husband. I found out when I was 9 months pregnant with our second that he was smoking crack and cheating on me with other married men. Because he is a millionaire, he went to rehab and did everything he could to discredit me. He drives around in a supercar and barely sees his children while I work 2 jobs to make ends meet and raise them. I have so much resentment for him, it's unreal. Does he not pay child support? That sounds so infuriating. He pays the bare minimum in the UK, because he's the CEO. He doesn't give himself a good wage, but everything in his life is paid through the business. He's the most selfish person I've ever met. What does he do? He inherited his family company, which is a local distribution shop for electronic goods. His grandfather would be rolling in his grave if he saw how his grandson acts now. You don't have to answer this, but how did you fall for that man? I heard that people in those job positions have a much more likely chance of psychopathic behavior, but hiding that level of greed and manipulation always concerns me when I meet new people in my corporate world. We met when I was 20 and he was 31. We had a great relationship until the children came along. And he is the best liar I've ever met. Might get hate for this, but can't help how I feel about it. My nephew is a 14-year-old who is autistic and has really bad neurological issues. Something about this combination causes him to become extremely violent and obsess over things. Like, for example, he will suddenly decide he wants to try and play video games, and when he is told no, he will have one of 2 reactions. 1. Ask every 5 minutes if he can play video games. Which gets annoying, but eventually he pushes and never stops asking why. It's not the worst thing, but damn is it annoying. 2. He will get extremely upset, start hyperventilating, and then become violent. This has caused him to hit my sister and break her nose, give her bruises and cuts, do the same thing to her husband, and threaten to off himself. My sister and her husband have had to call the police multiple times because of how violent my nephew gets. But there's nothing they can really do, apparently. My sister is at the point of trying to find a place for him with inpatient care, but it's extremely difficult to find spots for him. I keep being told by family and people that he can't control his actions and doesn't understand what he is doing. But I really don't see it that way, and of course I'm no expert, but some things he will say make me feel like he knows how to not react violently. Such as, go ahead and call the police, I'll act fine by the time they get here. Family gatherings? They all suck when he is around. He doesn't get violent there but just waits until he gets home and starts attacking my sister and her family. Birthdays? Not about the person whose birthday it is anymore. When he is around he makes damn sure he is the important person. Vacations? Don't even get me started. I've been told I shouldn't hate him because it isn't his fault, but I know 100% this family would be safer and much happier if he wasn't the way he was, and I can't help it but I hate him. I watched an evil kid like this at a summer school program. Was way too old to be there but was allowed because his mom was staff and had similar autism issues like this. He was 13 and would beat up his little 6-year-old sweetheart sister and we couldn't do anything about it. I felt so awful for that little girl. Even worse was the fact that the kid knew and enjoyed that he hurt others. He was very intimidating as well, being a large child and me being a short/small tell at the time. I have never felt so scared working in child care. Some kids are just born evil. University stalker. He was a shitty roommate and then he was a pretty shitty stalker because I knew it was him. The resident assistants knew it was him and he was caught immediately after he actually did something, but it still fucked me up 12 years and counting. Old ex's mom. I've never seen anyone genuinely hate their own child so much. So much so, that this kid is forever traumatized and will never see their own worth. The person I loved more than life itself completely shredded to a pile of trauma and self-loathing because of his own mother. Not only that, but she ripped us apart, and pulled his future out from underneath him as means of power plays. That's not the kind of hate that can go away. I've never experienced the kind of anger I feel watching a child be destroyed because their parent hates them. Mine as well. I dubbed her the Beast. She's loud and brash and hated that I'm an introvert and wasn't all into girly things, sex and the city, etc. She never stopped meddling, would call my ex up and literally scream at him over anything under the sun. She was so easily triggered. After the breakup, which had a lot to do with how awful she is, I would get panic attacks when she visited. I came back later to retrieve some things and couldn't find my dinner plates or brand new Egyptian cotton towels. I haven't been able to work much and need to hold on to everything I've got, and she just can't help herself. A phrase ex used a lot about her, and would throw things out she deemed junk. She's fucking awful and I still have nightmares about her. Obsessed with getting a grandbaby ASAP because ex's brother overdosed, so ex is this boomer fuck hope. And I kept that from her by being child-free. Even if I did want kids, I would never subject any child of mine to her. She's also the reason ex turned into an abusive piece of shit. He learned it from mommy. The girls that bullied me in school. It's been 8 years and what they said still affects me to this day. It's crazy how long it stays with you. 20 years ago for me and I still think about it all the time. I only recently learned the full extent of the impact on me is called complex PTSD. My siblings. They buried my mother without telling me she had even died. And then they had a lawyer tell me. There's a lot unsaid to unpack here. You know it, my friend. I had a self-appointed boss from another department who told his new boss he was in charge of me. Dude was gaslighting me for 3 months. Would yell at me for random things. Try to get me to work unpaid overtime. Wrote me a bad review when I didn't work a week past my contract. He asked for my ID then threw it out the window as a joke. I was already under a ton of stress because I was looking for a new job because everyone was quitting. I am glad I didn't do anything, but if I ever saw that dude in a parking lot there would be one less asshole in the world. My ex-husband. He lied, constantly, cheated and stole from me, demanded half of my paycheck, and in general was a self-important moron who thought he was smarter than everyone else. Karma helped kill him as well as his own idiot choice to not listen to docs where his diabetes and heart issues were concerned. It's been a peaceful 5 years for our son and I cause we don't have to endure his abuse. My sister. She SA'd me when I was aged 5 till 12 and she's 5 years my senior. My brain had blocked it out, and I went to see a very good psychologist and during a session trying to find the cause of my anger issues, my brain accidentally let me remember it all. Hectic session. Lifetime of hatred. Dumb bitch has now moved to Cairns, thinking she can just forget what she did to me. While she's enjoying yoga, mountain biking, riding and running a half-assed attempt at a website business, I'm dealing with being triggered by a variety of things and constantly want revenge. This. My sister, 4 years my senior, started when I was 4 and abused me on and off for 7 years. She fucked off to Berlin to be cool when I was 14. Let's just say, yeah, the dumb bitch can pretend she doesn't remember or it was all mutual. But I remember her locking me in the bathroom, sneaking into my bed at night to assault me. She is living the high life, parties and cool exhibitions. I remembered it all 1 year ago, and it slapped me with some hard life lessons. I wonder what it's like to never forget the trauma? Didn't everyone lock it up in a tiny box just so they could try to live life? To the other commenters, I've learned that children do indeed model behavior of their own abuse or even something they've seen in film/online, testing out on someone more vulnerable. Also, my sister has serious control issues and refuses to take any responsibility or answer my questions, so it may always remain a mystery why they are like this. Used my job as a doctor as an excuse to kidnap my stepson when my country was locked down during COVID and the family courts were closed, so my husband was powerless to do anything. He didn't see his son for months. I was considered a vulnerable worker due to respiratory illnesses, and wasn't allowed near any patient who could have even possibly had COVID. But despite this, my job was used to hurt my stepson and hurt my husband. I changed careers. I had studied my entire life to become a doctor, it was my dream. But there was every chance this could happen again and I refused to allow that. It also changed my enjoyment of the job. I don't want to put in writing how I feel about my stepson's mom, but I'm willing to bet you can guess. The worst part? That isn't even the worst thing she's done since then. The list is huge and growing. I met the one, my one. I knew it is him from the day I met him. We dated and things are perfect. Few weeks later he held my face in his hands and very close to his eyes, looked me in my eyes and told me that he really likes me. And 3 days later, no explanation, nothing. Stopped talking to me. He threw me aside like a used tissue. Manipulated and destroyed me. I reached out after a while asking why he did what he did. He said, "You were perfect." I honestly don't know, I just woke up one day and don't like you anymore. I hate him. There are very few people that I can truly say I have hated. Disliked, sure, but hated? There's really just one, an old boss I had, Dan. Going back to 2018. The year started off great. The previous year I had met this incredibly awesome woman. We were engaged. We had a baby on the way. Mid-January I got a call that my dad suddenly passed away. I won't get into that history, but he and I did not get along and I had not seen him for well over a decade at that point. I still needed to go to the funeral though. I put in for my 3 days of bereavement leave at work. Dan threw a fit about it, saying it was too inconvenient, and couldn't my dad and I just reschedule the funeral? What the fuck? No? I was annoyed but not mad. I chalked it up to Dan being a squirrely and sensitive airhead again, and once I replied that I'll have to call the funeral home and see if they can paste Dad's ashes back together and reanimate his corpse so that I can ask him to die at a more convenient time, it finally sunk into Dan's little peanut brain. Fast forward to July, my now 7 months pregnant fiancée and I flew out of state to visit her family. I only had a long 3-day weekend, so I had to catch an early flight home on the last day while she stayed behind for the rest of the week. 2 hours after flying home, I was back at work. 2 hours after that, I got frantic phone calls from the fiancée's family. Something had happened, she was in the hospital, losing a lot of blood, they have to do an emergency C-section, and it wasn't looking good. Our baby survived for 8 minutes 23 seconds before she was gone. Doctors couldn't save her. For weeks on end, Dan's favorite thing after that was dead baby jokes and constant snarky haha good thing your baby died and saved you money comments. Dan denied any kind of leave of absence for me. I lost my kid, I almost lost my fiancée, but it didn't matter to him, he wanted me there to laugh at with more dead baby jokes. End of September came and my fiancée took her own life. Dan switched from dead baby jokes to unending comments like, "How much do you suck as a person that everyone would rather die than be around you?" It wasn't until my attorney sent some threatening notices to him in the corporate office that Dan finally shut his fucking mouth, eventually getting fired a few months later, for unrelated reasons, followed by his own parents suddenly getting sick and dying and his wife getting a cancer diagnosis. Call that karma if you want. Fuck that man. I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire.